be completely supportive of you developing different courses of action in a separate strategic environment if these thoughts intrude in the tactical environment. Thanks for joining me, and welcome to the show. My name's Nichols. So there's moments when these doubts, fears, these considerations of other opportunities, other options, other decisions, other paths in life, when these come up when you're in that tactical environment of the day-to-day operations of your life, you can't really push them away because they may have some validity. But nor can you really look at them deeply, because you are every morning really fighting for existentially for your life. Because in the end, unless you give everything you have for your current path, you can't really become the person you need to be. Even if that path is not perfect, and in retrospect, maybe you would have made some deviations from it or some changes to it, you must give everything you have. So there's odd dichotomy in this paradox, whatever you call it, whereby you need to accept that it's not the perfect path, but you need to give everything to it. And the way I think you deal with that is when these thoughts come up and intrude on your tactical environment, especially in the mornings for me, when I'm really just driving towards trying to get successful. Like I want to just get through that work day and do the absolute best I can, get the workouts in, etc. There's really no time and attention to waste. In these moments when these come up, I go, okay, that's great. Instead of thinking, no, don't think about that. That's not a life I want. I'm afraid of losing what I have if I choose that option, or just having a negative reaction to it. Instead go, that's a fantastic idea. We'll consider that. Whatever it is, we'll commit to that if it's the right thing to do, but just not right now. We're going to go and separate that out strategically. Okay, maybe you want to go overseas for 10 years. All right, well, okay, that's fine. Maybe you want to change your jobs. Okay, sure, let's consider that. But let's do that. Maybe you want a different relationship. That's fine. But right now, we're with our spouse and we're completely committed to her. So right now, that's not relevant. That's not going to help. We need to give everything we have to our current relationships. So let's consider that outside of this life, completely separate from it, in the darkness of some alone time, or the light of some alone time. It has to be completely separate. Fantastic ideas, but it must be completely separate from our current life. These are different lives, not the one right now. We must be completely separated. So we must be completely committed to our current life. That's really the kind of self-talk that I try and have, that I want to have. And be genuine about it, in that, look, if there are courses of action that gets explored separately, should be every day in the waning of the day, if these are truly explored and they make sense, and you look at it and go, oh, okay, it's scary, I'm giving up a lot of my life here, but this is other option, this other life I can have. If these strategic courses of action make sense when we develop them separate from the tactical environment, if they make sense, then we should undertake in principle to be completely committed to following that course of action. The tactical environment must be subservient in some sense to the strategic environment, but the strategic environment must be separate from the tactical environment. That's how it has to work. So you must at all times be seeing yourself in a pitched battle with your own life. However, you also must understand that has to fit within a greater strategy, and you need to separate that time apart to do that. Part of that is just having a consistent diary, and I do have having a separate place to write down the things about course of action and strategy, whether that's career, whether that's relationships, so you can go to that later on in the day, later on in the week, and look at that. So another really important thing is having a diary to write out those things that you want to consider strategically later on. And when we consider these other lives, it's important to not overly worry about what we lose in this one. The truth is that we will tend to overvalue things that we lose. So we tend to think that a loss is worse than a gain. We tend to overvalue losses than gains. And the truth is we're going to lose this life anyway. Nothing is forever. So we need to choose a future that's different from the present. It's just a question of which one do we choose. So it's not really, in the end, kind of a dichotomy between this life and another. It's more just choosing what is the future. And sometimes that future is quite different from the present. But the future will always be different from the present. Whether we're driving through the present in a way that's sort of more continuous, or whether we're driving through the present to a future that's some way more discontinuous, where we had to make sort of almost jump the tracks a little bit to take quite a different path. The truth is the present and the future are going to be quite different, and we do have to let go of the present no matter what we do, because we cannot hang on to the present. Change of ourselves, change of our world, change of our relationships is inevitable. It's more about which future, pragmatically, what do we want to drive to. That's why you need to have that strategic thought every day. And we need to be okay with losing everything we have in this moment and accepting and understanding what the future brings and driving towards getting the future that we want, or obtaining the future that we want, creating a future that we want to make a better world for ourselves and everyone around us. So as Joseph Goldstein might say, everything that has its nature to arise will pass away, for better or for worse. Alright, well thanks for listening guys, appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.